Welcome to the Hunters Association, back with the Webtoon anime podcast covering this episode of Tower of God anime, episode 9. I have to talk about episode 8 because I wasn't here before, but nonetheless, I'm not from Project Manga. It's JC2K2002 from the YouTube channel with the same name. Seraph from Project Webtoon, and we got Big Sleepy back again from Project Webtoon again. No Trent motherfucking Money, you already know who the fuck it is.
Yes.
Don't know where the fuck he is, but I'm sure we'll see him next time. What's going on, fellas? How are we feeling tonight?
And there is no JD.
JD is also working.
Yeah, he is.
Damn, everybody's
2 weeks in a row. JD's slipping, bro. I don't care what his job says, honestly.
I'll be fighting my manager, bro. I'll be like,
yo, what are you gonna fix? Hold on, real quick, JC. What are you gonna fix Nightbot, my guy?
Hold on, I didn't.
And Ponzu got here again, dog.
Hold on, I didn't do Nightbot for this one. We did it together, Seraph. That's your fault.
What's Nightbot?
I did Nightbot for this, but I didn't.
You know how Meeseeks for Discord bots?
Oh.
It's just like that. It helps manage the stream.
Damn, Panzu. Look, I'll fix it. I'm so sorry, sir.
I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, with Nightbot? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah,
all right, since me and Seraph were there, episode 8, Nox, you first, man. How'd you feel about it?
I thought it was fine. I liked episode 9 a lot more. Episode 8 was cool. I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say about episode 8. I feel like everything was fine. Like, were there things that they left out from the webtoon?
They did. I gave it. Both me and Seraph gave it 6.5. I was highly disappointed.
I didn't think. Well, I mean, just like going off of like the idea that like not every episode is gonna. I mean, like every episode definitely can be a 10 out of 10.
Right.
But I mean, like those, there are chapters in the webtoon, that aren't 10 out of 10 chapters. You know what I mean? So I feel like that episode didn't need to be like all that much higher than a 7.
Right.
Personally. You know what I mean? I'd probably give it like a 6.5 or a 7. I mean, I felt like it was fine. I didn't notice anything like too out of the
6.5 is failing in school. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I mean,
best effort.
Yeah, it's like you
did okay.
I understand that like 5 out of 10, like 50% is failing in school. I feel like that might just be like an American thing though. But even if it wasn't, the way that you grade like literary works or like pop culture things, there's like a median line, and then it's like on like an X and like a Y axis with like a hill. You've never seen that diagram? I can't explain it. I'm not a fucking teacher. But anyway, I feel like 6.5, 7 is fine for a part in the series that wasn't supposed to be as good as what comes after it anyway. You know what I mean? Obviously Team B's part was clearly supposed to be like the climax of that test and like the most exciting part with everything involved that happens in the Team B team. So
all right, Sleepy, what you got, man? Episode 8.
Mm-hmm. Episode 8. So yeah, I mean, knowing going ahead what was going to come from that, as well as what I was expecting out of it, it was good enough for what I got. I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a struggle, especially like Noxie was saying that we're past. I think the diagram he's thinking of is we're past the bell curve. We're past that the high point. We're past the high point at which we got to that pinnacle that the episodes in the series can reach at this point, and now we're heading down the other side of it. So things are going to kind of slowly trail off a little bit. Now, not to say that we can't make a sudden rise and get back to it, but it's going to be a little bit harder at this point because we know we're ramping that we should be ramping up because we're getting close to the end. So this episode,
lit, though.
Yeah, the test is still lit. I mean, it was still awesome to see, and knowing that there were a few bits in there that I was definitely like, okay, they're leaving some things out of here because the test itself, I mean, that part is 3 separate chapters. Right. So they got to kind of condense all that down, and as well as not get us too overexcited because then we got the final test. So you got to kind of remember, you got to leave that space in between to finish it off, get us in that somber point, and then get us to the last test.
So, Sleepy, did you like the fishbowl test better than hide and seek?
In
the Webtoon?
Hey, Knox, move the mic closer.
Oh, my mic closer?
Yeah, move a little closer.
The fishbowl over this, I really like. I think I like the hide and seek scene more in the Webtoon than I like the fishbowl, and that's only because with the hide and seek scene, we're getting our first real interaction with a ranker. You know, like actually getting them to face it, which as they put it so much, you know, going through it in that part of it, they've been telling us how strong they are, how powerful they are, and you know, none of them should be able to take on a ranker. Right. And very quickly, you see that as you know, I can't remember his name, but he's playing with them. Yeah, Quan. He's just playing with them the entire time.
Right.
You know,
and I think that's good for the scaling too. Also, if my sound is low, JC, since you're hosting it, you can like right click me inside of Discord.
It's not your sound as you get like closer, because it's like you're a little bit muffled.
Oh, am I muffled? Oh, it might be this new like.
It might be the foam tab. It's kind of
phone thing. But I mean, I have my AC going full blast, so I take it off.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I turned mine off.
But no. What was I saying? Okay.
Fishbowl versus the hide and seek.
Right. So I personally in the Webtoon really liked the hide and seek test more than the bowl test. I understand like thematically that the bowl test holds a lot more significance, all things considered. But like for the reasons that you said, Sleepy, like seeing a ranker, like a real ranker in action for the first time, and his personality had a lot to do, like I feel like with this first example of a ranker that we get, because like inside of what was that one girl who's on Shibisu's team with the knife?
Seraph?
The one who has the flashback in like episode 9.
Oh
yeah.
Seraph. Right.
Yeah,
so
why she showed him.
Do we get that flashback in the Webtoon too? Because I feel like
yes, there is. They all of those flashbacks are taken straight from the Webtoon.
Okay,
they do get that.
And I thought so, but I just wanted to get a confirmation of that. But I feel like it's a good showing of Quant for the first time to see what a ranker can really do. Plus, you have that flashback that shows how ruthless rankers can be.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. And I feel like that was just an incredible showing of what rankers are. And plus, like Quant's personality of, like, you know, I think Lororo like makes a comment on it, like he'll fucking go full strength against people that he knows are like way weaker than him. Like, you know, so, you know, just so that you can like get that scaling there, right? And then we're not talking about episode 9 yet, so I'll save that. But anyway, I mean, these are reasons why I like the hide and seek test more than the bowl test, just because like Hatsu's little fight, you know, with Quant was really fucking like big for me, because Hatsu was always like from the beginning like one of my favorite characters, just swordsman in general. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I don't know. I just feel plus like hide and seek is such a
there's a lot of small personal character development that we see from that chapter as well, because we not only get a little backstory with Terrace, we get a backstory with Ho-Oh, we get a tiny little bit even with Hatsu about how, you know, a swordsman, you know, doesn't quit or doesn't stop just because the challenge is hard. We get a lot of these small things, and then on top of that, you're getting this full first lesson of a ranker. You know, the very showing you the gap between them. You know, even though they've all been trained by teachers that are rankers, they've never shown them full out like, this is why we're so much more powerful than you.
Right.
So
like we've been to the top and came back down to like,
exactly
chill with you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and we're not the strongest. Just to put that in perspective,
we're
rankers, but we're not the strongest of rankers. There's far worse.
This is the minimum requirement to
get
to the top of the fucking tower. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I could say that the only thing that I had a problem with episode 8 was the fact that, of course, it's the Webtoon, and they have plenty of time and plenty of dialogue to say, hey, the reason why Quant giving them 111 seconds was so significant was because of how big the arena was. And it's like, there's no way to, but the Webtoon didn't go through that, and they didn't really explain it. They gave them the 111 seconds, but they didn't say, okay, the arena is so big that there's no way you should be able to catch up. But of course, we saw how fast he is, and how he can just stop and fight people and still catch a knock at the very end.
Yeah, you know, now that you mention that, I feel like the show doesn't do a really good job of like showing how big the arena is.
Right, yeah.
He actually, and that was that thing I said where they were they kind of squash it down because they have to move through the episode so quickly.
Yeah.
He kind of gets from one scene to the other really, really fast. Like he meets up with with the road just sitting down there and then just bulshes off. And then, he meets up with the swordsman as they put up, and then he's really quickly through that. And then he's already at a knockback, not even at the end of the episode. It's like the midway point, he's having that fight. And I'm like, wow, that was fast. I feel like there should have been some time in there.
What? I don't even think that they mentioned in episode 8 how much harder it is for a knock to move through the Shinsu on the bridge. Do they?
Pretty sure they don't, because they skipped everything.
That was the thing in the webtoon about how like the closer you get to the exit, the stronger the Shinsu concentration is.
No, they did not make mention of that.
And you want to know what, dude? Okay, at the end of episode 7, doesn't he knock out the fucking other
Yes, he does. Yeah,
he does.
Lighthouse guy.
Team, the dude with the like water balloon paddle for like a weapon or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he knocked him out at the very beginning.
He was the first one I knocked out.
Right there in like episode 8.
Yeah.
What is that about?
He was out and now he's back, baby.
You can't miss like that.
He's a god, all right?
Yeah. There were plenty of things. I mean, they changed some things of how actually when Quint grabbed Kun and went off the edge and was falling down. Technically, in the webtoon, Kun saved himself. He reached to his bag, got a little whip out, and threw it out there. And this one, Nock saved him.
And she uses Green April instead of it being the other way around.
I just felt like it kind of diminished Kun's like plan. Like, okay, Kun had everything in the webtoon from start to finish. He had it all planned, and this time he had to Nock save him a little bit. I mean, it's neither here nor there, I guess.
It looked cool, but like it looked cooler when Kun did it.
Yeah, when Kun did it himself, it was like
you know what I mean?
Kun totally outsmarted.
It looks better when Kun does it.
I feel like there's more dialogue on that lower level with Leroux than Kun talking to Quant before Quant goes back up.
Yeah,
that they kind of like cut out, and I understand that you're going to cut out some dialogue here and there, but it's like when you are painting like Kun to be a mastermind in the series, and you're giving him his initial feats that paint that picture for you. Whenever this motherfucker talks, you should probably just let him say whatever the fuck he's talking about in moments where you're really like shining that characteristic, or you're supposed to be highlighting that character.
It very much reminds me when I got to that moment, like this should be almost reminiscent of.
See, I'm all the way fucking down. I just saw it.
You were down, but still.
What happened?
See how low I was? CJC?
You're like 78%.
Hold on. You were low, but you weren't. You're really
That
high
low?
now.
How much? I'm sorry,
Because
Steve.
you're peaking. You're peaking
I'm
now,
sorry,
and I don't want you to peak.
How much better do I sound, Blaine?
You're peaking right now. That's all I can tell you on my thing.
Blaine, Ponzu, Shoddy, how does Nock sound, guys?
How much better do I sound now, you guys?
No, you're still.
No,
See, you're doing the same thing, and that's why I didn't want it to happen.
Oh,
You didn't want to go over.
Yeah, I didn't want to go over it, so it'll put you like one
bro,
away.
put me at 80.
It'll put you.
Put me at 100 or 90.
You're going 90 right now.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, bro.
Ponzu brought up a good point because we talked about this last week too, about how the anime didn't show how knowledgeable Quant was. Like we saw how he was teaching them while he was fighting in the webtoon.
Yeah.
In this one, he just straight up brawled with them. He didn't really teach him too much, except for like every so often for Shibisu,
Yeah, he had a couple moments of dialogue.
Yeah, he doesn't do the full teaching moment in this. He very much skips it. He's just it's more like passing dialogue in this. Like he says some of the same teaching moments, but he's doing it as he's already beating them. Like, oh, I don't need to, worry about the dark because I have Shinsu and I can use it on my eyes. And then he just moves to the next thing. Whereas before there was this whole moment of him like explaining, exactly why the darkness is a scout's best friend and why they have to be as quickly and powerful as they are.
Which gave us a more of a perspective on the roles they have. It gives us a better perspective on the scouts, which is an important thing for the world building.
Yeah, and I'm still mad that the arena was so much more illuminated than it was in.
It didn't seem dark at all.
Yeah, like that was.
You're right.
That was one of
the only time like it was darkened was like the shading, and that was it. But like other than that, everything
that was the one.
So whenever they ran directly into the dark, it was dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was actually one whole bit of the webtoon that they completely nullified, was about the shade and the shadow. Like, because the very first thing he does, he's like, well, the one thing that you guys always should remember is always have your lighthouse. That's your key in the dark. And he does knock it out, but we can see perfectly fine. They don't actually make it seem like it's a problem.
And I understand that's probably because, like, obviously the color palette of the entire series is like really bright and vibrant.
Yes.
And like, you probably don't want that complaint there. Like, why were the, like, I understand that it's supposed to be dark in there, but why are these episodes so dark? I feel like they just kind of like wanted to completely avoid that criticism if possible.
Probably
the reason why they made that decision there. But
it was a lost time.
Nope, we haven't got
we
there.
haven't. We're still on 8.
Okay.
You guys were there, so we're going on 8 now. Since we're here, episode 9.
Okay.
Seraph, you go first. What did you think about episode 9?
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, I really liked how they portrayed for Endorsee's backstory of how she was like the weakest one at one point. She had to eat stale bread, and then she killed every fucking buddy inside the goddamn room. And then she ate like a queen right after that. I thought it was so badass. It added so much to Endorsee for that moment.
And I don't remember in the webtoon like what it looked like, but that animation for that scene where everything is like grayscale except for like the red.
Exactly, yeah.
That shit was fucking beautiful, dude.
Yeah, no, everything about it was like gorgeous, especially when it went to the whole part and he was describing as to how weak he was and how he couldn't protect his people, and like the gray shading for the big dude smiling upon all the horned people. I'm just calling them the demons. About to fucking just end their whole careers.
Yeah.
It looked really cool. It looked really good.
Yeah.
And I agree, Shadi. Ho dying was laughable. They could have added so much more in that episode.
I wanted him to die, so I was like, die. Nigga.
Instead of showing off like that whole scene.
I thought they did that just fine. They didn't like cut away. You know, like they showed the whole. They showed the whole
him stab him.
Going right.
The whole joint. Everything going into his heart. Everything.
I thought that shit was.
I just want to say, like, for even though I think he's a punk, like, I'm not gonna stab myself and not say "ow" or scream while I'm stabbing myself. Like, my guy just like did it. Like, you know what? This is gonna. I'm here, just throwing it in there. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they never showed that they took Rachel to the safe area.
Oh.
Like they just kept walking along, and there was like a whole scene in the webtoon where it's like, I'm gonna take you to the back room, you know, like where the safe area is, and stab you there. But they never did that.
Yeah, they kind of removed that.
Walking forward until like Quant showed up.
Yeah, because that was the reason that Quant couldn't attack him at first, actually, because he's in the safe area.
Right,
but they totally disregard that.
Yeah, exactly. And then seeing as to how Quant did his Shinsu move on Bam, and then Bam immediately copied it. I thought they executed that pretty fucking well too.
Yeah, that shit was sick.
Shit turned out really well.
There was supposed to be a little bit more like his internal monologue. I feel like was supposed to be a little bit more like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like he was supposed to be like a way more surprised about that. I feel like he had more things to say about how like that should be impossible. Who the fuck is this kid? This kid's a monster. Like I feel like that should have been a bigger deal. And I feel like those are kind of moments where like you shouldn't be cutting out dialogue.
Because it's important for the main character of the anime.
Yeah, anything related to him and his development and progression, don't cut out.
Yeah, it should not be cut out.
Super important.
Yeah, that's super important.
Another thing I really liked about this episode was how they showed off the ignition weapon, Naramura. The sword. They showed that off really well, and it just shows how like in this world there's more ignition weapons aside from the 13 months only.
Yeah.
We've only seen ignition weapons of the 13 months so far, and that's it.
Yeah. And you want to know what? Now that I think about it, dude, the Hatsu fight was like really underwhelming.
It was super short. Like,
yeah,
it was a lot better.
Yeah, it was still tight, but at the same time, it's like he didn't have his second, like he was disarmed of his secondary sword, like right away. And like in the webtoon, I remember him using its like ability or whatever. He was like his like
lower,
and everything.
Yeah. He did all that shit in the webtoon. Like that was the fight I was like looking forward to.
Because it was probably the tightest fight throughout the entire hide and seek game to me.
Yeah, and then
Hatsuko off was
nuts. Yeah, and it was great. I mean, it was still cool. Their exchange that they had in the anime was still tight, but it was super underwhelming with how short it was. Plus, like when Quant like crushes him into the fucking wall, and then he grabs his arm, and then like calls for the revolutionaries, and they don't come. I feel like there's so much more dialogue between them before he lets him go. Eventually, he says, "I'll never let go of your arm because I've been trained to hold a sword the whole time."
Yeah.
And then they don't show up. Like 2 seconds goes by, and he crushes him deeper into the wall, and then he just instantly lets go. I feel like a lot more time was spent on his grip in that scene.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the brevity was taken away on his fight, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There was
it still shows you how much of a swordsman Hots is, So
Did
more character for Hots.
Did Quant say in the anime that it took some time for him to let go?
Yeah, it took. He's like, I lost more time because of this guy. He was a lot harder to shake off. He does make a comment about him.
They didn't even.
I'm pretty sure he does.
I remember him saying that Shibisu was being desperate and was like holding on to his ankle. I remember that scene. But in the scene with Hatsu, I feel like it all happened right away. There wasn't a cutaway that implied that some time had passed. It was literally just, oh, wait, no, that's right. Because he crushes him into the wall the first time. He says, I'm going to hold on to you and not let go. Then it switches to the, no, it doesn't.
No, they're talking about the technique that he used. And the BAM copy, he's talking about the technique. It took him years to learn that technique.
Okay.
It goes to show the potential of BAM and how it is compared to a ranker, where he can learn techniques within an instant.
Yeah.
While a ranker would take, 5-6 years to learn how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so Sleepy episode 9. How'd you feel about it overall?
Overall, I won't say that I didn't feel it was lackluster. There's a lot of parts in there that I feel got rushed really quickly because they needed to get to certain scenes really fast. Some things definitely got missed. The whole Ho-Ho taking Rachel back to the safe area being completely just removed. Even them getting up to the actual stairwell that leads them out. That literally happened from one scene to the next. That was such a quick transition. Yeah. They're just like, we took the elevator and we're already here, and I'm like, okay.
Yep, we're here.
And I know that they wanted to get that to that part to talk with having Drosa tell us about her backstory, and also basically give Bam the lesson of this is how the tower works. And I think that they delivered that fairly well off enough. The scene itself was really well done, where she goes through the whole dialogue and then shows the color frame of her on the floor to her actually sitting in the chair and everyone else just fucking dead.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
It was really nice. But then when I compared that to the rest of the other scenes that kind of came after it with the fight, and then even using the ignition weapon, I was like, this scene was still, I think, a little bit better, because I think that they kind of quickly brushed into that so they could get Bam to do his, I'm not going to stand this for this kind of way of doing things, and then him leaving so that they could get to, the Rachel and Ho-Ho discussion. Mm-hmm. But I did enjoy, once again, Bam showing off his prowess with the ability to, instantly copy a move the moment he sees it, which is a key, if anything, a underlying key thing that everyone should note, because it's not the last time this comes up.
Yeah.
At all. So,
I still missed it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like they very quickly note it and then kind of write it off as fast as they can, because it is a big moment that if you're a reader or anybody else watching it, you will notice it very quickly that, hey, someone else knows this is not unusual. So, but overall, I'd probably give the episode maybe a 5.5, maybe a 6. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was super strong. There's a lot of things in there that I was just like, even at the end, I was like, am I on the wrong site? Because I feel like I'm missing some of the episode. Like I got to the music and I was like,
yeah, they're playing the music.
Back. Nope, that's it. Okay, my fault. Maybe this is episode 9.1. I'm just watching the OVA. My fault. But it's all right. It's all right.
Knox.
Wow. Yeah, dude.
Overall,
honestly, I thought this episode was really good. I'm definitely going to give it way higher than like 5.5 or 6, because even though they skimped the Hatsu scene, which I was like looking forward to a lot, and even though that they took out that like Ho like taking her to the safe zone, which kind of like invalidates like Quant in that moment in the webtoon, which is like explains why he couldn't reach her the way that because obviously he can outspeed, you know, or he can outspeed Ho very easily if that barrier isn't there at the safe zone. So that was really awkward now that I think about it. But at the same time, the music in these episodes is, I don't want to say that they carry the episodes, but like there were a couple scenes where I was like, holy shit. Like when Ho was holding Rachel hostage and then Quant got there and then Bam got there. I don't know what song that was playing, but the fucking guitar in that fucking song was fucking amazing.
The guitar to like the piano, dog. It was
that shit was gas. That really amplified the scene. The flashback with old girl with the knives. I always forget her name, but like showing the rancor, showing the rancor like killing all of her people, and then Edon coming down to like save her. That scene was really well done. Fucking motherfuckers' heads were flying off. Blood was going all over everywhere, even in like the silhouettes. Everything was like really done well there. The fight with Dorsey using the ignition weapon versus Quant was like really fucking cool to see. And I laughed my fucking ass off when when Shibusu tries to attack he's like behind like Quant, like trying to like, you know, after he calls him a redhead idiot or whatever, he's like, who you calling a redhead? He's like, hey, what's up, teacher? You know, it's all
you gave him a little shoulder fam. How's it going, man? You know, trying to be best friends.
They cut to him on the ground with a giant lump on his face. I don't know why, but that shit took me out of my seat for a second. That shit was super funny. And there was like a scene that I remember in the webtoon where like they were like talking about the knock, and it like kind of like flashes over like a scene of her in like a room, like getting her hair done or whatever, like putting it up into like
that was so adorable.
The extra cute scene.
Dude. There was I don't know, there was a lot about this. I mean, the Shinsu obviously looked incredible whenever anyone used it. I don't know, man. I couldn't get a 5, 5, or 6. I think there were other things I wanted to say about it, but
that scene with Rack was great. When he was sleeping, he wakes up and then Silent Man disappears. He's like, Silent Man! Hello, where you at, bro?
And you know what? Now that I think about it, I feel, and I think somebody said it in the chat earlier too. There were less people in the Dorsey betrayal scene than there were supposed to be.
Yeah,
and I feel like there were less people witnessing the Rachel hostage scene too than there were supposed to be in the anime. I feel like there were less people there.
We're not gonna talk about how Zoro was a lighthouse user.
No.
Oh,
I
yes,
I didn't.
In the webtoon?
Huh?
Is that Zoro character in the webtoon?
No, I didn't see him at all. Otherwise, I would have screenshot that and be like, yo!
I don't remember him at all.
Okay.
I didn't want to bring that up because I thought it was funny how they're going to have a character that looks like Zoro, but not using swords in any type of way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bottom line, I feel like the anime did a good enough job of like showing Quant's character. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, he's like an immature, like bratty, you know, like rancor, like that just has a whole bunch of power playing with a bunch of fucking like brand new greenhorns. You know what I mean? So like, obviously, they want to paint him in a certain light there. But like in the scenes where he's serious and actually showing his experience and showing like what it means to be a rancor, not just physically, but like mentally, even though he's immature, he still has some like really good dialogue that they did keep, where he, you know, is talking about what it means. I mean, like they didn't really go into like what it means like to be each role as much, I feel like as they did in the webtoon, but like it still was like cool to see his character. They showed a lot of depth in his character in these couple episodes, in my opinion. And when I'm reading the webtoon for the first time, you obviously see that like, you know, a lot more in depth. But in the anime, I still got like a similar feeling that I did when I saw just how deep like his character is. Like you think he's just going to be a loud idiot, you know what I mean, the whole time. But he actually is relatively down to earth. Like when the revolutionaries betrayed, when the spear revolutionaries betrayed Hatsu, his voice acting was like really good. The animation was really good. Like the scene atmosphere just like showed that he was like actually like sick to his stomach at the fact that people would betray their teammates like that. And it shows that there's a little bit more to him than just bravado and you know, competition, you know. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool. And even in the scene where they're supposed to go to the safe zone and they don't, like his dialogue there, like talking about like why, you know, he's taking her hostage, and you know the conversation with Bam, you know, and whatnot there. Like I don't know, I just like when you're supposed to think one thing about a character, and then you know the show or the webtoon show in this circumstance does a really good job of showing you that there's a lot
Plot
more.
twist.
Yeah.
180s it completely. Like,
Yeah. I don't know.
He did that well. Though.
I'm gonna give the episode a 7.5. If I was drunk, I'd probably give it. But I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Oh,
Episode 9 for me. So I gave episode 8 6.5, and episode 9 was a lot better for me. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I can't help but look at problems. I'm not gonna compare it from anime to webtoon, because I get tired of doing that, and there's so many differences that I can just nitpick all day. But at the same time, when the guy uses the ignition weapon, right? He uses it, and like literally Endorsee's right in front of it.
Oh yeah.
She gets hit, and they say no, Bam is in front of Endorsee. You're like, no, you just showed Endorsee getting hit by this weapon.
Yeah.
And they say no, Bam's in front of it blocking it. I'm like, did you?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Like,
Yeah. There's no way that Bam swam through the shit.
Yeah, he's not gonna speed blitz it. I don't know how that happened.
He ain't quat, guys. All right, he ain't for the speed.
He hasn't gained that ability just yet.
And
it hasn't been taught.
And I'm looking for one fight. And maybe it happened after everything, but there's a sheep guy, and I'm like, where's that fight?
That's in the bowl test, bro.
Yeah, that's in the bowl.
Is it in the bowl test?
It is in the bowl test.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Not when he fights. I'm talking when he fights the administrator. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm sorry. When he fights the administrator.
The administrator was.
When he fights you, administrator you, or do with a T. He fights him.
Oh.
What?
Su.
Oh.
Yeah, because he has that monster, and the other monster is way bigger.
The test
director you.
Oh, that's probably gonna be the very start or around.
Yeah. Well, that's not until right during for the bowl, because he goes to interfere with the test, and that's when he shows up.
I was tripping.
And that's when he turns around and goes, "I'm going to let you do with this because you have a job."
Okay.
And I have my own plans. But yeah, that's
spoilers, everybody. That was
you just went a little bit ahead of everybody.
I was looking for this fight.
Relax.
I was looking for this fight. I didn't want to get mad. I was getting mad. I didn't see the fight. And I was like, where's this fight at?
We can just write this down. This is exactly when we get shut down by the publishing company for putting out stuff ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
Sam,
you know what?
Samus is like, Noxie ain't drunk. We need to start popping bottles for his birthday.
Seamus, no.
I normally would be drunk by this time, but I just have a lot that I have to do today. But after this, I'm getting tore up, and I'm playing Halo 2 online on.
Blaine, I'm not editing anything out, sir. Like, it's not gonna happen. But for the rest of the episode, I didn't really have too much of a problem.
Just put spoiler warnings, I guess.
You asked me to do a lot of work. But
that is an extra like 5 words.
Boy, these hands, they got stuff to do. I don't know.
Oh.
What's that mean?
Copy paste you doing, boy?
I don't even want to.
Once again, we're not editing anything out.
He highlights with a Control V for the description.
He said these hands got work to do.
They got work to do.
Anyways.
Oh no!
But for the rest of it, I didn't have any problems, guys. Like when I was, the best scene was when Ho stuck the knife in him. I was like, yes, die please. I think I laughed during my reaction because I was like, bro, I don't even want you here, but not to kill yourself in a very thuggish way. He didn't even scream. My guy didn't make any sounds when he stabbed himself in the chest. Like,
Did he in the webtoon though, JC?
Did he what?
Did he in the webtoon? Did he have like a or like a?
I wanted him to.
Yeah.
I needed him to make a sound like like a little punk sound like. No, he didn't do it.
Remember exactly where the knife was placed, but like if he like stabbed himself directly in the heart, I feel like there's not even going to be a lot of opportunity for him to really scream.
I mean, at least when you start piercing the skin or something, like.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty quick. He said, "Shit."
I can't even paper cut myself without making a noise. But for me, everything else seemed to kind of flow. And when it comes to the anime, I was like, okay, are they really taking away things that I'm going to need?
Yeah.
But the actual the quant, how they showed him doing his first like technique against Bam. That was something different because in the webtoon they didn't even like show any Shinshu at all. He just like he kind of just passed Bam and it's like, oh okay, he's paralyzed. and they showed
Right.
this big bubble around him of
Right.
water, and it's like, okay, so that's how he did it.
Yeah.
That made more sense to me, and I'm glad that the anime did that.
Yeah,
And
those
so-
are great. Those are differences that I'm grateful for in the, you know, in the anime. And I feel like the hardest thing, because I've never reviewed anime before. I've only ever reviewed like manga or like webtoons. So I feel like the hardest thing about reviewing adaptations is like obviously the first thing we're going to do is spot out like differences from the
Right.
source material into the adaptation. But I feel like the hardest thing to do when reviewing it is deciding, like you were kind of just saying, whether or not those differences that are easy to point out are like make or break, right? You know, like are these like you were saying, like are these things that I need? Is it really that big of a deal that X, Y, Z isn't in here? You know what I mean? But we have a lot of fun talking about it anyway. But those are just the things that have me like scratching my head when it comes to this kind of shit.
It's kind of hard to actually, you know, think about it and like, do you really need this, or do you just really want this in here?
Yeah.
Because you know how much it could add to the story, but I mean, for anime only people, they don't really need it. I mean, I feel like it'll help the story, but I guess they're going just fine without it.
It's trying to separate that lot, those different parts of your brain, that fan part that you want for it to be, you know, one-to-one seamless, the anime person part of you that goes, you know, does it look cool, and then just really the analytical part of, does it need to actually be there, does it actually help the scene, you know, enhance it in any way. So just trying to separate those out is always going to be difficult, but they do bring up interesting topics.
100%.
Since I am steering this ship right now, JD is in the chat. You should be off working in here. But anyways, we're going to go episode
He's
10.
off break. What do you mean?
I don't
He's
care.
off break.
I don't care.
Bro,
care.
Hey, if you're on break,
You wanted to be on his phone, dog?
you got Discord on phone, Cash. What we doing?
Listen,
What's
nigga,
going
here.
on? I'll be in the bathroom every 15 minutes on shift, trying to get any kind of word in I could. JD, you got to do better.
So episode 10 predictions. They're getting to the bowl test. Let's go Sleepy first. Eventually get to the bowl test. How many episodes we got left? Like 3, 4?
We're supposed to get
4 episodes left.
13 episodes altogether. So yeah.
Expectations. Next episode.
So next episode will be it'll be the somber episode, because it's gonna be recovery.
Right.
Because this will be the episode that everyone will have to, because Rachel's down. You know, they're gonna go through all of the individuals that, you know, basically didn't make it. We're gonna get them out, and everyone is basically got to get better. So this will also be the episode of talking, because this is where you know, Bam now knows that Rachel is here. So he's now, and since she's going to be down and out, it's going to be the begging of, you know, I want to help her get up to the next level of the tower. So you know, this is definitely going to be a talking episode. They got to go through that bit of the slowdown. I don't think
it'll be all talking though, because they still got to do that thing at the end that we were talking about earlier. That
I spoiled already. It's not getting edited out.
Yeah.
I mean, even with that thing, there's still talking in that.
Yeah, there's
going to be some action, but it's going to. I think it's going to be mostly a talking part of bit of the episode. Yeah, that'll probably be the most action we get, but this will definitely be a talking bit, because, you know, just refiguring out everyone's personal relationships with everybody. Because Andros is probably not liked by anybody in Group B right now, at all. Everybody hates her, so you got that to deal with. You know, Bam's pretty much going to be the cat right next to Rachel's side the entire time, and we're pretty much going to get to see Toon figuring out his next plan. That's what I think we're going to see through most of episode 10 is planning, talking, and, you know, just overall setting up for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah. All right, Knox.
I don't know. I feel like we covered every single thing that is predicted.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, you know, and I it's like, what else can you say? It's like, obviously I predict the music to be on point. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, and honestly, in between hide and seek until like right when the action starts popping off in the bowl test, I have kind of like a hazy memory of things that happen. Like Sleepy just reminded me everything that happens after this episode. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you get like the exposition of what the bowl test means, which I feel like was like one of the better scenes where they explain what a test is, just because there's so much to it. Mm-hmm. So like that, and like that's like what I like really fuck with inside of like stories like these, where it's very like logic and reason based and like strategy based, is like getting, especially for like things that are like like exams and shit, or like trials and like tests and shit. I love the scenes where the tests are explained, and especially the ones where it's like kind of like hard to like grasp the concept of the test the first time you hear it. Like I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. When I was reading the fucking webtoon for the first time, and they explained the crown game, I was like, I have no idea what it is at all, and I loved it. I was like, okay, wait a minute, go back up. This. And like it got to a point where I was like, I reread this exposition like 3 times, and I still don't fucking. I'm just gonna
understand what's going on.
I'm just gonna go through the fucking test and hope that it makes more sense as I watch them play it. You know what I mean? Kind of like when when you learn a new card game. Like if someone explains like Gin Rummy or like Spades to you for the first time, you're sitting there like, okay, and they're like, all right, well, we'll just play a game.
Play around.
It works better when you actually play.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like the bowl test was one of the more complicated ones. Just like, I'm excited to see that scene because one, I love Lororo's voice actor, Chisaki. Overall,
God, he does so good.
It's so good. It's so fucking good, bro. So
it fits him so well.
It fits him so well, and I'm just ready to hear him talk for 3-5 minutes, however long it takes to play the game. But that's probably my highlight for the next episode.
Seraph.
Episode 10 expectations.
Oh wait, I don't even think are we even gonna get that far in the next episode?
Who knows?
Because it's gonna be a lot of exposition that will probably end with you and Yuga, and then maybe. Anyway, y'all know what I'm ready for episode 11.
I mean, they might break off from between Yuga, and then like people on the living side trying to just recover and stuff. But I'm in agreement with Sleepy. A lot of recovery gonna happen, a lot of dialogue is gonna happen, and probably an explanation of the test if they decide to skip the Yuga fight.
They ain't gonna skip that.
It's important, I know, but
they
think about all the important things they missed
so
God. Far. And we have 4 episodes left, so they're gonna have to squeeze that in really quick. You know what I mean? Especially with the bowl test being so long, trying to fit that into 2, maybe 3 episodes in. It's just they gotta squeeze in a lot while they can, because there's so much that happens during the fishbowl test. You know what I mean? But yeah, just a lot of talking, a lot of recovery, and just like people being nonchalant about what the fuck just happened. You know. Them telling who the fuck is out of here, who the fuck is still in here. You know, kind of like, you know, the Bachelorette. Y'all motherfuckers can leave. You know, this dude is the one. You know,
motherfuckers be watching the Bachelorette.
Man,
I would have been like Flavor of Love.
It's 2020, buddy. 2020. You can watch whatever.
I love New York.
You know what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, I had to clown you. Like, these motherfuckers stand over here. A fucking bowl of popcorn. Blank it up to his head. Like, how did you eliminate her?
Wow.
Guys, I don't even know what this is going to be, because I feel like they don't have enough time to show the bowl test in its entirety. But they've been squeezing things in. They just squeeze things in, take things out. I don't know what's going to happen next episode. They could start the bowl test next episode at the very beginning of it and just skip a lot of dialogue like they've been doing.
No, fuck that. They better not do that. Oh, my God.
I've said they better not 1,000,000 times on this podcast, and they've done
it. No.
They've done it. I'll give it episodes 9.5 to 10. I give it episode like a 6.
God damn.
See, exactly. I never know what to expect from this company anymore, because
think about, like, do you think back to the chapters that these episodes are adapting, and like what score did you give those chapters?
I wasn't giving any score because I was just reading.
Right, but I mean, like, how did they make you feel though? You know what I mean?
It's like when it came to the chapters, I was like, number one, I'm reading a lot because I was live streaming and I'm sitting there reading for the first my first live stream was like 4 hours, sitting there reading. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to keep going. Like, let's keep going, keep going. I gotta know what happens. But there's so much dialogue, there's so much information there that you have you can eat on. But the anime is just like, they give you action. They want to keep the action going, not be too boring for the casual fan.
Yeah.
And it kind of leaves you wanting more, I guess.
But I guess my question is like, okay, so like, let's say an episode adapts 3 or 4 chapters
Right.
from the web, right? And like you have an expectation for the episode, and you like expect to give it a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
It's like, what, like, do you ever like think about like the score you gave that stretch of chapters, those 3 or 4 chapters that it's adapting? Was that a 9 or a 10?
Yeah, because I'm going off of what I expect. The chapters was hype for me,
right,
so I know what should be in the episode.
Okay, I'm only asking because I've literally never thought about it. Like I'm sitting here scoring
because you don't watch anime.
Yeah, but hey, you want to know what, dude? It was just a thought that came across, and I was like, I'm really sitting here going, this episode was a 7.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm thinking back to like the chapters. It's like, would I really rank them higher than that? I don't know. Yeah, but anyway.
Oh boy,
I'm getting buzzy now. You feel me?
I mean, I came from an anime first background because I didn't know manga even existed when I first started watching anime. So I was like, oh, there are comic books that came first. That's what I was thinking to myself back in the day, and I was like, oh well. When I started reading the manga, I was like, oh well. This is a lot better, so let me read this. Let me read this. So that's
JC, I know you're a comic book fan too, like obviously. And I don't know how long you've been reading comic books, but I've been reading comic books since like I learned how to read. So like once I found anime, obviously I was anime only for like a little bit before like I understood that like everything was on the internet. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But like that ended as soon as I found out that all of these shows that I was watching are based on comic books.
No,
you know, so
do that.
Right away. Instantly, like right away. It seemed like
stop.
I watched Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, everything that was on Toonami. You know what I mean? Anime only or whatever. And then like I think Dragon Ball was the first one that I think I went to school one day and someone had like a weekly, magazine.
A weekly shonen?
It had like a weekly. Had a magazine with Dragon Ball drawing in it in comic book form, and I was like, "Is that, bro?" You know what I mean? And then he's like, "Oh, it's manga," and I was like, "Okay, well, that's it."
I don't have to wait.
I refuse to read Dragon Ball. No.
Well, I mean,
I'd rather watch.
You're reading Dragon Ball.
I'd rather watch 5 episodes of Powering Up than read that.
Well, I mean, that just started my. Now it got to a point where it's like, and then I started like researching it, and I'm like, all of these shows. I mean, besides like Cowboy Bebop, like some of them, like all of these shows, damn near, have a comic book equivalent that it's based on. You know what I mean? Like I can
farther ahead
story at my own pace. Yeah, and then when I found out that they're all farther ahead, I'm like, what am I doing here?
Why even wait?
Yeah,
I got a fucking for you, dog.
Imagine the first time someone told me, I was like, dude, do you read the manga? And they're like, oh no, I don't want to ruin the anime. I was like, what?
Your brain just couldn't.
Yeah, like, I literally didn't like get it. I'm just sitting there. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like it's right here. Like but yeah.
I mean, y'all got me in my bag for a second.
I mean,
hey, Samus, Toriyama's panel flow is goated though, and you want to know what? Like, I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Like, say what you want about the Dragon Ball manga. Like, there are like 3 manga illustrators that I feel like do action paneling and just action choreography like the best. And like Toriyama's fucking action art.
Okay.
It's like undefeated. You can see every single movement that happens. Like a lot of manga illustrators will like show rapid movement, like a bunch of movements like all in one panel or whatever. But like just like Toriyama's like style, and like it's a style that I never really saw again until like 7 Deadly Sins. I feel like Suzuki Nakaba like really like took that. That's 7 Deadly Sins.
What show was that?
Nanatsu no Taizai.
I know what it is, but what show is that? I don't know what he's talking about.
You didn't read? Well, did you ever watch the show?
Oh yeah.
You like the first season, probably, right?
I watched this last season that just came out.
Watch season 3.
I tried to.
I feel bad for you.
I watched 2 episodes and I was like, we done. We out of here.
Anybody who's watched season 3, I feel bad for.
Bro, I watched season 1 of 7 Deadly Sins. I was like, this is heat. I'm so glad that this has a good adaptation, so now I can tell all these motherfuckers that don't read manga that this is the truth. This is up next. You know what I'm saying? And then they watch season 1. They're like, thanks, Nox. You put me on once again. You killed it. And I was like, wait for season 2, though, because the 10 Commandments shit in the manga was drastic, bro. And I was like, bro, when season 2 comes out, y'all aren't ready. However much you like this first season, this shit's about to push your wig back, bro. And then Netflix, like, faked season 2's premiere. I don't know if y'all remember that, but like Netflix was like, yeah, 7 Deadly Sins season 2 coming at you in like 2 weeks or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, you guys get ready. And then it came out with like 4 episodes of filler.
Yeah, they did.
It came out with like 4 episodes of filler. I had niggas in my inbox, you're a fraud. You lied to me.
You're a fraud.
Yeah, I was like, no, like, wait, like, you don't get it, bro. Like, you know, they're like, I'm never
Noxie doesn't know that Netflix was just conspiring. He's like, oh, look at him looking like he all big and shit. But wait till we get him. Wait till we get him. And then all of a sudden he's like, now what? Now what? Just all that clout just comes down at the base level.
I felt the clout leaving me. It was like it was people giving the ring to fucking it was Bilbo giving the ring to Gandalf. Like, why shouldn't I keep it? Like, I literally felt like I was dying, bro. And then season 2 like actually comes out. And then, like, at that point, I was just so mad at the show that I was just like,
it wasn't bad. I mean, I like season 2.
Well, I mean, like, I didn't even watch season 2. Like, I heard that season 2 came out. I wasn't all that excited because I was still salty about Netflix. And then I just started like YouTubing the fights. You know what I mean? Because the first Galen entrance scene like in the manga, bro, is one of the best like villain entrances that I think I've ever read, bro. Reading that week to week was fucking drastic, bro. And then the anime, like, before it comes out, and the color palette that they had, like, for that season was weird. Like, the animation quality, I could tell, like, wasn't as high for some reason. And, like, they didn't do a good job of, like, capturing the essence of how fast Galen was. You know what I mean? So I was just like, oh, I'm over this shit, bro. And I, like, Googled, like, you know, I YouTubed, like, Escanor versus Galen and, like, Escanor versus Estarossa. And, like, Escanor versus Estarossa was tight. But like I was just like so like mentally checked out of the anime at that point. And then I didn't even know season 3 was out, and I saw that clip of Meliodas versus Escanor, and I was like, oh no. I wanted to bring out my fucking computer, bro. I was like, you fucking kidding me, bro?
You ever get so mad at an anime that you just want to boom?
Yeah, that was it. Oh no. Got it 2 episodes, and I was like, we will never watch this again. I
didn't even watch season 3 or season 2. I just saw clips of it. I was like, "Oh no!"
yeah. But I mean, sorry to like take over.
No. Since JD's not here once again, we're gonna just little side panel. Hey, Sleepy, did you read the latest chapter of One Piece?
I have not.
Oh, damn it!
You haven't read the newest chapter of One Piece?
Damn it, Sleepy!
It's so good.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay. It is.
Wait, what's Sleepy? What are you trying to?
Noxie, don't you remember? I don't read One Piece.
You don't read One Piece?
There's the face.
What?
Are you serious?
Bro,
I read One Piece way back when we were at APAC. There was a little dude that kept bugging me to read it, and I read it for a little bit, and I was like, I'm not going to read this right now.
Oh my God.
And I checked out.
That's shocking to me. I thought
Wayne doesn't read One Piece either. Okay, well, blocked.
Well then, blocked. Shoddy, you didn't read what? Okay.
Out of here.
Jesus. Well, that threw me off. But once again, you didn't miss anything. You just saw Ragdoll Luffy. Whatever. That's all.
Really. You're just gonna embody everything toxic about Twitter on stream.
Look, you can't.
Ragdoll Luffy was your highlight of the chapter, bro.
Kaido, Big Mom. You can't ragdoll Luffy by Apu. That's all I've got to say.
I'm not doing this right now.
Okay, you can't do it. Anyways. Okay. I'm not even sure what we're talking about. Okay. Anyways, what are we?
Oh man!
You asked if he read the episode of One Piece.
I heard that. I mean, I'm trying to get off One Piece because we can go all day on One Piece.
I'm glad I'm just happy I broke Noxie just a little bit, just like by doing that.
Bro,
I was like, I used one of my Outlaw Star caster bullets on him at that point, and he was just like, no.
The number 8. Oh, which one was it? The number 9. Well, that's like I can't even
like a miniature black hole.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
But unfortunately,
dude, Outlaw Star is good.
His Tau magic is just a little strong. He just popped back out. He's like, all right, I'm good. I'm all right.
Oh no, dude!
I'm about to make that an emote.
Yep. Copy that down.
I've already clipped it. Now I just gotta pull it out.
Motherfuckers have been like screenshotting like me and like Eagle and like Kiko's like reactions like over on my show and like fucking making the funniest memes that I've like seen out of like, maybe it's just because it's like us, but like whenever I'm like on Twitter,
so much funnier when it's yourself.
Blaine, I'm not editing anything, bro. Let's let you know that. Except for like the very beginning, it's not editing anything.
Why?
For what?
Panzu, I'm in the Hell Train arc still. He asked me how far I am in the Tower of God webtoon. I'm still in the Hell Train, obviously, because that shit's like 300 chapters. So
about some Halloween-ish. Seamus.
Hey, shout out to Chainsaw Man. Let's go. Seamus.
Yeah, I haven't read Chainsaw Man. What is it? Is that good?
It's super good, dude. It's so
Sleepy,
good.
you reading it?
I'm a few chapters into that.
Pretty gas.
I don't even want to screenshot my list of things I have to read that I read on a constant basis.
He's got a crazy, one of the craziest lists that I think anybody has ever had.
No, our other is much more larger than mine. I'm just always trying to catch up in that sense. But yeah, Art doesn't read as much as he just consumes.
Ark's shit though, dude. I don't understand. That kid's like a fucking machine, bro.
Oh, you did need to read Blue Lock. Blue Lock is crazy.
Other guy, Ark.
Blue Lock.
Read at least like 300 chapters a day with no issues.
I think I saw somebody on Twitter say that nigga got like a demon in his leg or some shit.
No.
What?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, but it's almost like the football manga. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, all right, bet. Or no, not football. Well, technically, but soccer.
Yeah.
The soccer manga.
It's so cool.
And I was like, this looks tight if it's like going to be like a grounded ass like soccer story. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Haikyuu. Like I fuck with Hajime no Ippo. Like where niggas like don't have superpowers, but they're still doing like extra normal things, like technically, but there's not like an energy system or anything like that. Yeah. Someone on fucking Twitter was talking about Blue Lock, and they're like, this nigga's housing a demon in his left leg or some shit. And I was like,
no, I don't know what he's talking about. No.
Okay.
Oh my
god.
I
was like, no, sir.
Who is that nigga? I'm gonna block him right there. I don't know what that was.
You lost me, buddy.
All right. Okay. Anything else for this last
Tower
of God?
No, the other basketball
time anyway, dude. We started at what, like 9:45? We needed to do at least an hour.
It is an hour.
4 minutes in.
Oh, are we?
Well, actually, theoretically,
now we are. Yeah, we had to like, come on. Yeah, that was super quick, dude.
No.
To talk for a minute.
I would have watched y'all. What time is it there?
It's 10:39 for me.
Oh, it's 11:39 here.
I don't know, dude.
Yes, it is.
It's your time.
Yes, it is. I'm just asking questions like you guys.
How you gonna ask me what time it is?
I'm an hour ahead of you guys. And I've got to edit this.
Oh, my God. Oh, you're gonna edit it tonight?
Of course.
Oh, dude, fuck. Did you work tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
Look at that. Compassion, empathy. I didn't think it was possible.
Hey, I'm at that sweet spot.
He's literally drinking.
Yeah, but I'm at the sweet spot because I'll get real mean real quick.
Yeah.
I was like 2 more ahead of this. I'm like, fuck you, JC, edit that shit tonight. I don't care how long we talk. You getting it up there tonight.
Well, I think this is off the rails. JD's not here again. Once again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude. There's just no structure without JD.
Eventually,
it started with structure, and then we just find out
for the lost clips.
It is what it is. Very little editing.
The unaired chapters.
If you get this far into the YouTube video, I salute you. You heard some gold in here, but poor JD. He's at work. That nigga, that's his fault.
It is his fault.
Oh, that's
you skip work for at least
the boys.
At least for
Steven said I'm on my J. Jonah Jameson. He said drunk knocks on his me pictures of Spider-Man energy.
Yo, Apu, Yonko level. We'll let you guys know that right now.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Then you woke up.
Hey.
Apu?
Apu's Yonko level because he fucking got a sneak attack on fucking Luffy. That literally, like, it's literally like it's a knockdown. Okay? It was a knockdown.
A ragdoll knockout.
It wasn't even a knockout. It was a knockdown.
Zoro had to carry him off.
Okay. So first of all, we've seen those two attacks already from.
We saw
I think
he's already got hit by it.
Right. One of them is like a slash attack. You know what I mean? The Shan or whatever. You know. And then like the other one is an explosive. Okay. So you're gonna fucking hit Zoro in the spot where he can easily take the most damage. Like he's always getting hit in the chest with a slash. Luffy's not like always getting blown up. You know what I mean? That's obviously just a way more devastating attack.
It is, yeah.
Like Zoro's obviously gonna eat that shit, bro. He eats that shit for breakfast. He's a swordsman, man. He gets cut in the fucking chest every time he fights.
You can't have your main character get ready to fight a Yonko and get ragdolled by some guy everybody thinks is low tier.
Oh, it's okay, because guess what? Zoro's killing Kaido anyway.
No,
look at him.
Hold on. He's calm down.
All right, we're good, buddy.
No,
that's right.
I didn't say that. Luffy's my favorite character. You can't ragdoll Luffy. He was gonna fight Kaido. Big Mom's there too.
Dude, it's gonna be fine, bro. His stamina is fucking off the charts anyway. I feel like
Luffy. This is not Katakuri.
I know, but I'm just saying, bro. Like,
this is not Katakuri. This is the guy who one-shotted Luffy.
Yeah.
And he just
got one-shotted Luffy. Oh yeah, Kaido.
Yeah, Kaido with his lightning, whatever, mace, whatever.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen again. That's why he got Tank Man. He got Tank Man in his back pocket for all that.
He was Tank Man.
No, he was
Snake.
He was King Kong.
He was Bound Man.
Oh, which one's the big?
Tank Man is the one he used against Cracker. That like give him like
the big one is Tank
Man. He had to eat all those biscuits.
That was the full version, right? So if you remember, he goes Tank Man. He's got a regular Tank Man version. He doesn't got to eat a bunch of bro. I'm telling you, he goes Tank Man for Kaido. Telling you.
Oda's run out of ideas, bro. Tell you that right now. Oda's running out of ideas, and this is.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
This is One Piece fans for you right now. I can't.
No.
I can't do this.
Don't One Piece fans, bro. Nah, bro. I pay attention.
Luffy got one-shotted, and he went through a little training arc. Now he's gonna be better. He's gonna win.
Yeah, you ain't been paying attention to the series. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about?
Bro, he was in the fucking prison for I don't even know how long. I think it was a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, a couple weeks. Okay.
Everything in the first half of the story, from the very first episode to the time skip, happened in less than a year.
That's cool.
I'm just saying, 2 weeks in a fucking prison, working out the fucking whole time and fucking eating constantly.
My nigga's Goku. Is he a Saiyan right now?
Significantly stronger,
is he a Saiyan right now? Is that what
you're
telling me?
Bro, I'm just saying.
He's a shonen protagonist.
Yeah, and he's a shonen protagonist.
There you go.
It doesn't take that long to get tight in the series. That's all I'm telling you. You can progress very far in very short.
To Yonko level in 2 weeks.
I mean, if I'm keeping it a buck.
You're not.
This nigga's been in the paper. He's already a Yonko.
That's because Big News Morgans is trying to sell papers.
Hey.
Nick, no, you're
It's just breaking.
All right. Anyway.
Y'all killing me. All right. That is the end of the episode, guys, before we keep going on some bullshit One Piece. We out of here. We out of here, guys. Say bye, everybody. We leave.
Later, y'all. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.